Yeah, welcome. So we'll be continuing the concepts that we are discussing in the last lecture. So basically we are discussing about local search techniques. We are discussing about hill climbing, the different variants of hill climbing algorithm. In the last class we have discussed the basic hill climbing algorithm, and also we have discussed a random restart hill climbing algorithm, first choice hill climbing algorithm, all these things, right? So so let us continue our discussion. So in the last lecture we have discussed one example case for hill climbing algorithm. Based on that we'll be discussing one problem, and then we will continue. So this is one case we have discussed, that is, let us start with a randomly generated 8 coin state. Then the steepest ascent hill climbing, it performs something like this. So this is the very basic version of hill climbing algorithm, that is the steepest ascent hill climbing algorithm. So when you apply steepest ascent hill climbing algorithm on the 8 queen problem with a randomly generated initial state, then it is observed that 14 percentage of the time it will find the solution, and whenever it finds the solution, at an average it needs 4 steps to find the solution. So remaining 86 percentage of the time, the algorithm will get stuck with the algorithm will get stuck with local maxima, and and whenever it gets stuck with local maxima, at an average it needs 3 steps for that. So this is an observation. This is an observation on 8 queen problem using the steepest ascent hill climbing algorithm. Now we are discussing a, so let us remember these things. So 14 percentage success rate, and whenever it succeeds it takes 4 steps average at an average, and during failure it takes 3 steps at an average. Now we are discussing about random restart hill climbing algorithm. So I think you remember random restart hill climbing algorithm. So the algorithm randomly starts with an initial state, and then it proceeds as per the normal hill climbing algorithm. It may either find a solution or it gets stuck. If it finds a solution, it is fine. But suppose if it got stuck, if it got stuck means then the algorithm will be restarted again with some other initial state, and again continue until it reaches the goal state. If it reaches the goal state, fine. Otherwise, if it got stuck, then again restart. So like this, keep restarting the algorithm until you reach the goal state. So this is what the concept of random restart hill climbing algorithm. So now, so we are bringing that particular problem here. Uh, so what we are trying to understand in the sense, so so random restart hill climbing algorithm, probably how many times it should be restarted. So that how many times it should be restarted to find the solution. So that number of times it should be restarted, it is also called as expected number of steps. So expected number of steps, uh, uh, so I mean, the expected number of steps, how we are calculating, so that we know as per the problem, we know that in a, so you recall the previous problem what we have discussed, the 8 queen problem with the steepest ascent hill climbing algorithm. We know that its probability of success is 14 percentage. 14 percentage of the time it succeeds, so its probability is 0.14, and whenever it succeeds, it takes at an average of 4 steps. At an average of 4 steps it takes, and when it fails, it needs, at an average it needs 3 steps, right? So so this is with the case of solving the 8 queen problem using steepest ascent hill climbing algorithm. Using steepest ascent hill climbing algorithm. But now if you solve the same problem using random restart hill climbing algorithm, then this algorithm should be restarted several times. Then the algorithm should be restarted for several times. Then how can we measure the expected number of steps? Right? That's what we are trying to understand. So whenever the algorithm gets stuck at that time, normally at an average it will take 3 steps. When it succeeds, it will take 4 steps. Okay. So probably how many times it should be restarted. So depending on that, we can calculate the expected number of steps. Are you getting? For example, if the algorithm is restarted for 5 times, okay, including the first time, so totally if the algorithm is restarted for 5 times, then what does it mean? Then how many steps it will take, effective expected number of steps. So 5 times if it is restarted, in the sense, in one of the step, in the last step, it has found the solution. I mean last time, so it has restarted for 5 times. So in the last round or in the last time, whenever it was restarted, at that time it has found the solution. So when it has found the solution, how many steps it has taken? 4 steps. And remaining 4 iterations, so in the last iteration it has found the solution. During that time it has taken 4 steps at an average. So remaining 4 iterations, it got stuck and it has not found the solution. So during that time, probably at an average it has taken 3 steps. So it is what, 4 into 3, 12 plus 4, which is 16 steps. Are you getting? So this is how we are going to calculate the expected number of steps. So this I gave a random example, that I have told that the algorithm has taken the algorithm was restarted for 5 times, including the first iteration. So we know that first time it is what, the last time is the successful one. So 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 we assumed it as 4 steps, because that is what the problem statement says. But the remaining 4 times it got stuck somewhere, so that 4 is multiplied with 3. So as a total, what we get is 16. uh, but if you don't know, so the if you don't know the total number of times, then how will you find that? That's what we are going to discuss here. Okay. So here is a method to find the expected number of steps. Here is a method to find the expected number of steps, right? So the expected number of steps can be calculated like this. It is number of steps of one successful iteration. So that is fine, because in the last iteration only it will be successful. So that that we have to include. But to that we have to add something else. What is that? To that we have to add something else. What is that? Plus 1 by p minus 1 times the number of steps of failed iteration. Okay. So p is this probability. So p is this probability. So it is 1 by p. So 1 by 0.14. So in this case the probability of success is 0.14. So it is 1 by, this is 1 by 0.14 minus 1 into the number of steps required whenever it fails. So that is 3. Okay, right? So into 3 plus 4. So let me write it properly. So it is into 3 and plus 4. Okay. So when you calculate this, you will get this value 22, right? So let me show you. So you may not get exactly the round figure 22. You may get something 22.1 or 22.2, something like that. So first let me do this 1 by 0.4. So 1 by 0.14, which is 7.14 something minus 1. So minus 1 is 6.14 into 3 is 18.42. Okay, plus 4 is 22.42. 22.42, if you round it, you will get 22. So that is how we got this answer 22. So this is how we can calculate the expected number of steps for when you use random restart hill climbing algorithm. Okay, so it's not expected number of iteration, it is expected number of steps. I think you understand. So now, so expected number of steps means how many times the algorithm will be restarted. That based on that we calculate. Okay, so only one time it will find the solution, that is last time. That value, so that time how many steps it needs? 4 steps plus 1 by p minus 1 into times the number of steps required for failure cases. So that's how it is calculated. Okay, so let us see one more example for this. Let us see one more example. So already I think we have discussed, yeah. So already we have discussed that in the normal case itself, if you recall, in the normal hill climbing, itself, when you allow sideway moves, the algorithm's performance will improve drastically. When we allow sideway moves, yeah, you can see here, if we allow sideway moves in the normal hill climbing itself, in the steepest ascent hill climbing itself, the algorithm's performance will increase drastically. It will go up to 94%. Okay, so in this case, whenever it goes to 94%, so its probability of success is 0.94. So during success, so whenever it finds the solution, at an average it takes 21 steps. So whenever it finds a solution, at an average it takes 21 steps. And whenever it fails, at an average it takes 64 steps. Whenever it fails, at an average it takes 64 steps. Okay, so during success time it takes at an average 21 steps. During failure it takes 64 steps. Now if this particular problem is solved using the random restart hill climbing algorithm, then what will be the effective number of steps? So the effective number of steps will be, yeah, the effective number of steps will be 1 by p. So in this case, what is p? P is 0.94. So it is 1 by 0.94. Okay, 1 by p minus 1. So minus 1, okay, into multiplied by the number of steps during failure cases. So during failure cases the number of steps is 64. So that is into 64, okay, plus the number of steps during successful cases, that is 21. So what is that? That is 25. So the effective number of steps, or the expected number of steps in this case, it is 25 steps. Okay, so this is how we can calculate the expected number of steps in case of this particular algorithm, that is random restart hill climbing algorithm. Okay, fine. So that's it about our discussion on random restart hill climbing algorithm. Then let us go to the next topic, which is simulated annealing. Simulated annealing is also one of the local search technique. So this is an algorithm which is inspired from physics. In physics there is a concept called as, what you call, annealing. So annealing is the process of heating the metal and then cooling down gradually, so that you can convert it to crystal form. So normally metal is a hot substance, right? So annealing, what it does in the sense, it totally melts the metal. By heating it in very high temperature, the metal will be melted, and then it will be gradually cooled down, so that it will become a it will come into a crystalline state, right? So that's what annealing does. Okay, fine. So let us discuss simulated annealing here. The hill climbing algorithm that never makes a downhill move towards states with lower value can be incomplete. So what does it mean? So so if the hill climbing move is not going to make downhill move, then it may be incomplete. Incomplete in the sense it may not find a solution. So so see, the what's the problem with the standard hill climbing algorithm? It may get stuck in local maxima. Okay, it may get stuck in local maxima. So assume this is the problem space. Okay, this is the problem space. So already the algorithm is here. Now already this is the current state. Now if you want to go to the global maxima, then it has to do downhill move. It has to accept some downhill move, then only it can go uphill. If the algorithm is refusing to go for downhill move, then it can never reach the global maximum. So that is what this statement says. A hill climbing algorithm that never makes downhill moves towards the states with lower value can be incomplete. So in that case, it becomes an incomplete algorithm because it is not ready to come down. So it may not find the solution at all. Okay. A random walk that is moving to a successor chosen uniformly at random from the set of successor is complete but extremely inefficient. See, what we are discussing is this is one extreme. This is the first case is one extreme where uh, where the algorithm is refusing to make downhill movement, right? And the other one is the second extreme. Okay, so this is one extreme case which states that as per this statement, the algorithm will never do downhill movement. It will always try to move uphill. So if the algorithm started from this point, okay, then it will perform uphill and it will reach here. But after that, it will stuck here because the algorithm is refusing to do any downhill movement. So the algorithm will stuck here. This is one case. This is one extreme case. And this is another extreme case which asks the algorithm to perform random walk at every situation, which means that if initially if you are starting from here, so if this is the initial state, then the next state will be found randomly. Next state you won't find the successor. Randomly you pick any point in the state space and that will be the next state. For example, if this is the random point next you got, then this will be the next state. Again randomly pick something else and check, and you see where this is the next state. Probably you will compare whether this state is better than this state or not. If it is, then you will accept. So like that, at every round we randomly pick up next state. So that is called as random walk. Okay, that is another extreme. The problem with random walk is it is complete. It is not incomplete. So incomplete in the sense it may not find a solution, but this is complete. It will find a solution, but the solution may be extremely inefficient. Okay, because like this we may have to perform so many number of times to find the solution. So the first case, the algorithm refuses to perform downhill movement. As a result, it is incomplete. Whereas the second case, always it does random walk. Every step it chooses the next state randomly. So this is a complete algorithm, but still it is extremely inefficient. It is extremely inefficient. So can we somehow combine the both? Can we combine the both, and can we try to take the advantage of both? Are you getting? So the advantage of this algorithm is it is completeness. So the algorithm of this is it always try to move to the better state. It never comes down. So can we take the advantage of both? So this is something like a trade-off between exploration and exploitation of the search space. So this is a classical trade-off between exploration of the search space and exploitation of the imperfect solution at hand. So this is an imperfect solution at hand. Okay. Whereas this is it is exploring the search space. So it is a trade-off between the two. So how do we resolve this trade-off? So this question can be answered by simulated annealing, right? So this is the introductory to simulated annealing. So I guess you are understanding. So the first statement, what it says in the sense, there are some hill climbing algorithm which will refuse to perform downhill movement. Such algorithms are incomplete. But there are some other algorithms which always perform a random walk. At every step, they identify the successor randomly. Such algorithms are complete, but they are inefficient. So we want to take the advantage from both the algorithms. So how do we do that? So that's what the solution is, the simulated annealing. So as we discussed, the concept of annealing basically it is inherited from physics. So as per annealing, what it does in the sense, the metals are heated to very high temperatures, and it will be in the molten state, and then they will be gradually cooled down, thus allowing the material to become a crystalline state. So that's the whole concept. Okay. So how can we relate the annealing of physics with respect to the annealing of computer science or artificial intelligence? Uh, so in case of physics, when you perform annealing, as the metal changes from one state to another state, so that is called a states, different state. But here we call as feasible solution. Okay. And there we use the term energy. As a equivalent, here we use evaluation function. So the evaluation function measures the goodness of the solution, how good the solution is. So similarly here, energy says something, energy level of that of the material at that point of time. So there is a term ground state there, and here we use optimal solution, the best solution, and quenching, instead we use local search, and their temperature, which as the temperature increases, the the metal is in the molten state, and then the temperature is gradually decreased to make sure the material become the crystalline state. But here instead of temperature, we use something called as control parameter, and the control parameter is represented as T. And in physics the term is annealing or careful annealing, and in AI we use the term simulated annealing. Okay, so these are the just the equivalent vocabularies. Now, how the concept work, how the whole story of simulated annealing works. Okay, so in simulated annealing, what we do is at every iteration a random move is chosen. Okay, randomly we chose. See, you recall the first slide on simulated annealing. There are two cases of what you call hill climbing. One is which does not perform downhill movement. the one algorithm which does not perform downhill movement, the problem with that algorithm is it is incomplete. The another algorithm which always performs random random walk, which always performs random walk. The problem with this algorithm is it is inefficient. It is complete, but it is inefficient because every iteration it will randomly choose the next state. Okay, so the next state may be good or it may not be good. Irrespective of that, it will choose. Okay, so we cannot say that always it will be good. So what we are trying to do in simulated annealing, we are trying to take the advantage of these two cases, right? So with that understanding, you please listen. So simulated annealing, what it does in the sense, at every iteration a random move is chosen. The successor is generated randomly, but there is a catch. If it improves the situation, then the move is accepted. That is, if the successor is better than the current state, then the move is accepted. Otherwise, it is accepted with a probability less than 1. Right? So we can say something like this. If so at every time the successor is generated randomly. So what we can say? So what we can say? Uh, Successor state successor is equal to randomly generate the successor from the current state. Okay, the next state, the successor is nothing but it is randomly generated from the current state. But are we going to accept the successor or not? So that depends on, if successor is better than the current state, then accept it. Okay, if successor is greater than the current state, if the value of successor is greater than the value of current state, then accept it. Okay, just accept, nothing else, because you find a successor which is better than the current state, so just accept it. Else, suppose if successor is not better than the current state, then what should we do? Then accept with a probability less than 1. Okay, so then also we may accept, but not every time we will accept. Then we will accept with a probability of less than 1. That's what the algorithm says. Okay, but if you see this random thing, if you see the original hill climbing with a with random walk, that will always generate a random state, and irrespective of the random state it will accept. Whether the random state is good or bad, it will accept. Whereas the uh, another version, it will never allow downhill movement. It will not at all come down. Okay, but see, what is the problem if you never come down? The problem with never coming down is you may get stuck in local maxima, and if you get stuck in local maxima, you never come down and you will never reach the global maximum. Right? So sometimes you should come down, but not every time. So this algorithm, if you see simulated annealing, if the successor is better than the current state, it accepts. If the successor is not better than the current state, it accepts with the probability less than 1. So sometimes it will also do downhill movement. So that's the point. Sometimes it also do downhill movement. So if it gets stuck in local maxima, then what will happen? Every time successor, whenever it generates a successor, most probably it won't be better than the current state. Then it will come down. It will allow some bad moves, so that after that it may get into good moves. So that's the whole concept. Okay, fine. So let us see the algorithm of this. So this is the algorithm for simulated annealing. It's a very simple algorithm. So the algorithm name is simulated annealing. It takes the problem and the schedule. Okay, schedule is something, a mapping from time to temperature. So it's a mapping from time to temperature, because we need a control parameter, right? So time represents like how long the algorithm is running or something like that, right? It returns a solution state. The inputs are the problem and the schedule. So what is the schedule? It is a mapping from time to temperature. And there are local variable, the current the current node, next the next node, t, the temperature. Basically it is time that we are now calling it as temperature. So how much time it takes for the algorithm to find the solution. For t equal to 1 to infinity, we are doing this. So before the algorithm, let us yeah, so this so we will discuss some points here. These are quite important points. So here, so this is the uh, key aspect of the algorithm. At every iteration, the simulated annealing randomly generates the successor. If the successor is better than the current state, it will accept. But if the successor is not better than the current state, then it will accept with a probability less than 1. And how this probability is calculated? See, this probability, it decreases exponentially with the badness of move, and it also decreases with respect to the temperature T. So there are two things which decreases this probability. What are the two things? So always the probability will be less than 1, but still the probability will further decrease based on the badness of the move, and based on the it also decreases with respect to the temperature, right? If that, as the temperature decreases also, this probability will decrease. Badness of the move means, so badness means you are selecting a successor and that successor is not better than the current state, then it means it's a bad successor. So that move is not a great move, it is a bad move. Okay, so if consecutively, if more bad move happens, then the probability will decrease exponentially. That's what it says. The probability decreases exponentially with the badness of the move, and also it decreases with respect to the temperature. So there are two things which controls this probability. Okay, one is the badness of the move and the other one is the temperature. Okay, right. So simulated annealing starts with a high value of T, and then T is gradually reduced. At high values of T, simulated annealing is uh, like a pure random search. See this. See, this is interesting. When T is high, when the value of T is high, simulated annealing is it is much like a random. It is much like a random search. So it is like much like a random walk. Okay, that means uh, that means it generates the next state, and if the next state is better than the current state, it will accept. Okay, if it is not better than the current state also, most probably it will accept, because your T value is high. If your T is high, then the probability also will be high, because probability decreases as T decreases. If T is high, then we initially probably we will be setting the probability as 0.9, because always it is probability less than 1. So probably initial probability will be 0.99, but as temperature decreases, you will decrease the probability. So if T is high, then simulated annealing will behave much like a random search. Okay, that is initially at the beginning, but towards the end of the algorithm, when the T is quite small, so as time proceeds, no, the T will decrease. So here in our algorithm, we are connecting time to T. Okay, so initially we have more time, so or the starting time, during starting time we assume the temperature is high, but as time increases we assume that the temperature is decreasing. So that's the point. But towards the end, when the value of T is quite small, that is when the temperature is small, the simulated annealing resembles like an ordinary hill climbing, because now if the successor is better than the current state, it will accept, but if the successor is not better than the current state, then most probably it will reject, because towards the end, when t is small, the probability will become very low, probably it will become 0.01. In that case, it may not accept anything which is not better than the current state, so which is very similar to the what you call the very pure version of hill climbing, which does not allow any downhill movement. Okay, So this is something a trade-off between the two. It is something a trade-off between the random walk and the downhill movement. So that is what exactly simulated annealing is doing here. Okay. So this is the algorithm. Uh, so what we do, initially current is equal to make node of random state of the problem. So for actually we are creating the initial state. So initial state is what randomly we are creating some state. For t equal to 1 to infinity do. Okay. So t is nothing but time, and from this time we are calculating this t, capital T is equal to schedule of t. So the schedule of t is something which maps time to temperature. So when t is 1, no, when t is 1, initially when the algorithm starts t is 1, at this time this t value will be probably high. It may be 0.9 or 0.99, very high value. But as the round increases, this t value will decrease. Okay. If t is 0, then return. If t is 0 means we cannot continue. Okay. Because if t is 0, then the algorithm will because algorithm is itself is controlled by t, right? So or initially when the small t is 1, let us assume schedule of t gives 99 or 100, some high value. Gradually as t increases, as small t increases, this capital T will decrease. So if t is equal to 0, then we are returning current, whatever the current node. Else we are creating a new node, next equal to a randomly generated successor. We are randomly generating a successor. Okay. Then we are calculating del E. Del E is nothing but the difference between the current node and the next node. So value of next, so the value of next minus value of current. So that is del E. Okay. If del E is greater than 0, if del E is greater than 0, then what does it mean? We are subtracting next minus current. So that is stored in del E. So if del E is greater than 0, then it means that the new state is better than the current state. If new state is better than the current state, then just accept it. That's what we are going to do. Then current is equal to new state. Sorry, current equal to the next state. If the next state is better than the current state, then the whatever the next state, that becomes the current state. Otherwise, if suppose the next state is not better than the current state, then what should we do? Then also we can accept the next state with some probability. So what is that probability? So then current is equal to next only with the probability of e to the power del E by t. With this probability we will accept. Okay, so this is how simulated annealing works, right? So an example is given here. Let us assume that the current and the next point in the search space is differed by 13. Okay, it's minus 13. That means what? That means the next state is not better than the current state. Okay, so only if it is positive, the next state is better than the current state, because we are doing next minus current, right? So it means the next state is not better than the current state. Then will we accept it? Yes, we may accept with the probability of this e to the power del E by t. But again this depends on t. It depends on the value of t. If t is, say if the value of t is this, initially the value of t will be high, 10 to the power 10. So the value of t is 10 to the power 10. Then this will be accepted with the probability of 0.999. Are you getting? So in the first round, in the loop, in the first round, the t value will be high. But as the round increases, the t value will become low. So if t is 50, then we will accept with the probability of 0.7. If t is 20, we will accept with the probability of 0.5. If t is 10, we will accept with the probability of 0.27. If t is 5, we will accept with the probability of 0.07. If t is 1, we will accept with the probability of 0.0002. Are you getting? So at this point, the algorithm is behaving like a random walk algorithm. That is, it accepts all the next state irrespective of whether it is good or not, because Anyway, if it is good, it will accept. If it is not good also, it is going to accept with the probability of 0.99, which is close to 1. Whereas at this point, the algorithm is behaving like a very basic version of hill climbing, that is no downhill, which does not allow any downhill movement. So this is how we achieve the trade-off between no downhill movement and random walk using simulated annealing. So these values we got by plugging in this e to the power del e by t. So del e we know minus 13. So t is these different values are applied. Okay. So right. So that's it about simulated annealing. Fine. The next algorithm which we have under local search is local beam search algorithm. Right. So this algorithm it is actually based on this idea: why not keep more than just one state in memory? So why should, so basically this algorithm it's based on the idea like, why should we explore only one path? Why can't we explore multiple paths parallelly? So that is what based on that idea this algorithm was generated. So what it does, at each iteration all successor of k states are generated. Okay, if one of them is a solution, then halt. Otherwise k states are selected and process is repeated. We expect good successors to attract the attention. So the whole concept of local beam search is something like this. So initially we generate some initial state, okay, randomly. Then from this, the initial state will identify all its successors. Say it has many successors, 1, 2, 3, 4. So generally what our algorithms will do, it will identify only the best successor and the best successor will continue. So that is how the algorithm will continue, right, in any of the algorithms which we have discussed so far. But this local beam search algorithm, what it says in the sense, identify all the successors of the initial state. After that, from this you identify some k states. From this you identify some k states. So there are many successors. Let us assume we have n successors. 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, up to n successors. From this n you identify k successors. Probably the one which are good. Identify such k successors. So we say, let us assume we identify these 3 successors. These are the k successors. Then let this successor explore. This successor explore. Okay. Again from this you identify some k successors. So that is out of this from, so each of the 3 will explore. Okay. So from 1 there may be multiple options. From 2 there may be multiple options. From 3 there may be multiple options. Again from this you identify k good successors. Okay. And continue in that way. So finally you will reach the optimal solution. Finally you will reach the not optimal solution, you will reach a good solution. So that is what the algorithm says. So this is not similar to random restart. This is different from random restart. In random restart we randomly start one state and from that state we try to reach the goal state. Suppose the algorithm stucks, then we restart. So at any instant of time only one instance of the algorithm is running, but we keep on restarting until we reach the goal state. That is how random restart works. But local beam search is not saying that. With respect to local beam search, multiple algorithms will be running in parallel. In parallel we are going to run what do you call k different algorithms, because initially we start with one initial state and for that initial state we identify all the successors. From that we choose k states, 1, 2, 3, say k states. Okay. Now for all the k states we'll generate the successor, right? For all the k states we generate the successor. Again from this we choose best k states, maybe 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. right? And it will continue again. For this we generate all the successes again. Again identify some case states. Okay, so this is how the algorithm, at one point the algorithm will converge. At one point the algorithm will converge. Okay, but there is one problem with this algorithm. The problem with the algorithm is uh, it will actually this algorithm will converge quickly. So the whole point of the local beam search is it the all the see there are, even though there are different branches, the one which is having best successors, no, the node which is having best successor, everything will go towards that, right? I mean the other instances of the algorithms also, they will abandon their search and they will jump onto this to the one which is having best successor. Okay. So that is one drawback of this algorithm. Okay. At each iteration, all successes of the case states are generated. If one of them is a solution, we halt. Otherwise, case states are selected and process is repeated. So here diversity is important so we don't get stuck in bad regions of the search space. So actually this algorithm is not diverse. It is not diverse uh, because even though initially we explore more state, uh, but but most of the worst states were ignored, and the algorithm will just follow one path. So it is not diverse. Okay. So there is one suggestion was given to improve this to make it diverse. So that is called the stochastic beam search. It chooses case successors at random, with the probability of choosing a successor being an increasing function of its value. So with stochastic beam search, case successors will be generated at random, will be chosen at random. Whereas in normal beam search, the case successors know they are best nodes. They are chosen based on their evaluation function. Whereas stochastic beam search says you choose the case successors at random. So when you choose the case successors at random, the algorithm can maintain diversity. Fine. So that's it about the local beam search. So let us stop here for today's session. Okay. Thank you.